I mean, you can't spell isekai without slavery, that's for sure. But one thing I'll give this show credit, probably one of the rare cases when it comes to quote unquote slavery in an isekai, it's like a job fair in this world. The more I see of it, the more I'm like, this is like such an odd version of it. Like, we're now at the second slave market, and once again, the people who run these buildings with said slaves, like, it does not feel like what you're used to. And that's great. Like, honestly, it is. It's just baffling because it usually is never handled like this. Not to mention, I'm pretty sure he's had an isekai first. This man built a horse-drawn carriage that is essentially the TARDIS from Doctor Who. I understand he's working with pocket dimensions, but the fact that he has an entire home, kitchen, probably bedrooms, living room, dining room, bathrooms, like, and it's the fact that he builds shit like that and will deadass look at the characters in the camera and say, what, is this not normal? I think he's just flexing. I can't believe he actually thinks that's a normal thing to do. There's a reason why rich people in this world are offering him the equivalent of 1 billion yen to buy it off of him. This man is revolutionizing the world through the most insane ideas and practices known to man, and simply is saying, Teehee, did I do something interesting? Yes, you did. And once again, we recruit another girl. Strangely enough, the other girls in question only will let him recruit other girls, so I don't know if he's got some Rentaro from 100 Girlfriends level love curse going on, but we did recruit another person. This one will be used with alchemy. Pretty damn good episode. At face value, I feel like I'd want to push back against an episode like this, but honestly, it just does it all right, and I really don't have a major issue, so that's pretty great. Of course, if you want to support my work, though, see my full thoughts on these episodes, you know, we've got the Patreon, full live reactions available exclusively over there if you're so interested. So I really enjoyed this episode. It kickstarted immediately in a way that I was like, okay, we're gonna go buy another slave. I wonder what the justification. Oh, okay, actually, yeah, it makes sense. Because we're dealing with a world that's not just like, oh, you know, these slaves, quote unquote, are like in shitty situations. Like, we're dealing with a character who put herself in this situation to, you know, recover family's debts because they're poor, right? So it seems like they probably got like a little bit of a signing bonus for her going to, it sounds weird to say, but it's almost like going to talent agencies and shit, man. It's just so weird because the contracts can only be signed if both parties agree. It seems like the people who run these slave auctions, these slave homes or whatever, never force. Like, she was denied multiple times, and this man never physically abused her or anything. It was more of like, it felt more like an orphanage than a slavery building, you know what I mean? Like, it was more of like, don't worry, I'm sure they'll pick you next time. And I'm like, what is with this world? Why do they, like, I'm glad for it, but it's just, it feels like it defies all isekai odds, you know what I mean? But at the same time, the idea of a character like Takumi, who is very talented but has took all the workload onto himself, because obviously the current characters we have a talking spider, a magical horse, and two other girls who, you know, none of them really do alchemy. So recruiting someone specifically with, you know, interest and talents in alchemy is understandable. But how would we recruit someone who's been denied multiple times? Because most people don't want to recruit someone or buy someone, forge a lifelong contract with them for someone who might get talented someday. Like, if anything, you're basically just getting another mouth to feed who won't keep up. Insert our boy who hands her a page. What does this say? She has a mental breakdown. She's like, you know, I don't really understand some of this. And he's like, well, shit, you're hired. You glanced at that shit and had it mostly understood. Enough time and attention to actual studies, you're going to be an amazing alchemist. Like, it's crystal clear. Really compelling, really engaging story. And it's just like, because we already know what to expect when it comes to these like slave situations, given the first two that we recruited a few weeks back there, you know, at the end of the day, we understand this isn't what you naturally associate slavery to be when it comes to fantasy environments. It's still like naturally your gut impression is you're like, wait a second, what's going on here? But then the more I see, the more I'm like, okay, it's not even just like we were in a specific location that's nicer. No, like, I'm sure there's probably places in this world that do some shady shit with slaves. It ain't all gonna be sunshine and rainbows, of course. But it seems like the general legalization of it is like their standards and basically human rights, which you can't say for most of these shows. And honestly, it's really weird for me to say this, but this is one of those cases where I completely get why they essentially made slavery but under another name. Because the way these contracts and stuff work, it technically still falls under that umbrella. But because like they have to both agree, it makes it feel like it feels more like an orphanage job recruitment than anything. And it oddly works. And given that we have a man who's able to make the TARDIS from Doctor Who by himself, and when asked, can you make me a new one? He said, sure, just bring me the materials and I won't have to deliver it to you. Now we have another character who will be able to aid in his research, probably come up with ideas even he didn't think possible, or the things that he has in his mind, she'll be able to come up with the magical summoning circles and all that stuff in order to do so. I don't know why episodes like these are working as well as they do, because they should be very basic, mildly entertaining at most, but then I look over at the time as we're, approaching the end of the episode and I have like 2 minutes left, and I'm thinking, really didn't feel like that. Like, the show should have been a lot more generic than it's turned out to be, but it's legitimately running circles around, like, even Isekai I like more than this, but the subject matter, such as its concept of slavery, is like magnitudes better than some of my favorite Isekai. How did they do it? I don't know, but sometimes simplistic beauty works best rather than that complex, we're trying to be deeper than we can be, or, just kind of feels like a forced message, you know what I mean? The thing that has me pretty sure we're gonna get a second season of this is the future stuff. So they usually twice an episode, like a lot of times they end the episode like they did here with like, okay, here's like the big bad present day, what are they building into? And then usually like some of the other characters, like we get a perspective of earlier in the episode. And it's like, because they're highlighting that so much, it doesn't really feel like they're slimming down on that or cutting it out from the source. It makes me pretty sure we're probably going to see a season 2 announcement when the last episode of this wraps up or shortly after, because this doesn't really feel like, I mean, we could just be doing the go read the manga source material ending like we sometimes see, but I don't know, it feels like they're not really skimming down on that stuff. It makes me pretty sure we're going to see a second season where we'll dive more into that, especially given that we only now have one more character in the opening that is yet to be introduced. So once that happens, I mean, the kind of setup establishing stuff will be out of the way. And season 2 could probably not only flesh them out, but more so the present day stories, what I'm assuming is what they're doing, but I guess time will tell. Either way, honestly, probably like within the top 3 episodes for me. I really liked what they did. It was simplistic, fun, and it has me saying that I like things that I normally don't like in these shows, so props where props is due. You let me know your thoughts and feelings, and definitely favorite moments. The reveal of the TARDIS is definitely mine, but your thoughts down below. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course, ring that bell, and like I mentioned, we got those full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. So today we got Rigava, Miguel Martinez, GreedX23, X Destroyo, Tyrant Johnson, Jenny Stiegel, Kristen D. Ruffy, and we also have Charlotte. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care. You all have a good one.